Our business is a perfect example of 1,000 things that don't work. But sometimes they come and surprise you, and they do work. So embrace a positive attitude. I mean, there's doesn't cost you anything. Everybody can be negative, but you might as well be positive.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So, Robert, so how many years have been you've been working on this? And tell us how nice to step up compared to your before, and how that works.
So I've been doing it for 32 years, and in September the 13th, it'll be years. Like I said, I walked into this having no idea what this is and quickly realized that I was in a situation where not a lot of people knew about it, and I knew a lot about it, and I stayed in it, and it's helped me, maintain a certain level of I wouldn't want to say appreciation, but I'm usually involved in all the decision making related to the life settlement industry. I serve on the board of directors of LISA, which is the Life Insurance Settlement Association. So I tried to pride myself in kind of knowing a lot about a little. I don't know everything about everything, but I know a little about almost everything. And the second part of your question was, I'm sorry, I missed that.
The investors, what type of investor you're looking for, and how the process works.
So think of an investor who's an accredited investor, or someone that's a very sophisticated investor. So think of, there's been a lot of European hedge funds hedge funds, pension funds that have come into this. They're the most interesting because they were the first buyer who liked to buy longer life expectancies. And someone said, why would they want to buy something that's going to take so long for them to get their money back? And the answer was simple, because they're going to buy it very cheaply in the beginning. And that's the part I described, is you can buy someone for 5 cents on the dollar, and then they could pass away early. So they would see that upside to that potential, and they would stay in it, realizing that many of them are going to go right to about when they thought, and of course some are going to leak past that number. So they have to have the bandwidth to withstand pain, and they got to be able to hold on. I can't think of another asset manager that has a longer lifespan in terms of the ability to wait for their return than a pension fund, because their time horizons are off in the distance. So that's why they were able to buy 20-year life expectancies. Whereas 15 years ago, there was nobody buying a 20-year life expectancy. So hedge funds, venture capital, individual investors, what we call accredited investor here in the United States, somebody that could lose 100 grand and it's not going to bankrupt them. Those type of people are investing in these policies, because there is risk, right? As there is with anything. You could buy one policy and think that person was going to pass away in 5 years, and that person could take 10 years to pass away, which is why we recommend do not buy just one policy. I'll make a joke here and tell you my thoughts are. I'm the worst at deciding what somebody's life expectancy is, because I've seen so many that I've got so much built in my brain that I think always, oh, that's going to be, it could always, there's always something that can happen. So you have to be able to buy lots of policies and let the law of large numbers work out. So think of somebody with tens of millions of dollars to deploy, and they're always a lot larger companies, like, for example, as the pension funds I mentioned, they have to allocate certain funds. They just can't all be in the same buckets. So this is considered to be an alternative asset, something that's, there's a lot of other alternative assets. This just happens to be one of them. That's different. It's not something you're going to watch on the financial channels and it go up and down, although we do have a public company in our business now. But they do a bunch of other things in addition to buy life insurance policies.
And then, what type of return they their projected expect of good time is unpredictable when they can cash out, but there is no another hidden cost. For example, it's big insurance company, they have a lot of lawyers that charge a lot of money, and when you want to clean that at the end, it's gonna be difficult to find those big companies,
Well,
right?
you're right, but here's the thing. So the way insurance companies work is we've never had an insurance company not pay a death claim ever. Okay, they don't. We are such a micro fraction of what the total world is that this is so tiny that they shouldn't be concerned with anything on this business. So for example, if I bought the policies, let's say we bought 100 policies ourselves. We were directed, you and I both ran a hedge fund together and we're buying policies. And then we had all these policies with these 12 and 13-year life expectancies. And about year 8, you and I ran into financial troubles for whatever reason. Okay. We needed to get liquidity quick, right? What can we do now? We can sell those policies in the tertiary market. We don't have to wait. We can revalue them, re-underwrite them, and find buyers that will come in and buy those policies, and we can raise cash very quickly. That's what's great about this business is it's not illiquid in the sense that I have to hold it forever. So if we bought a policy, take that pension fund example. I bought the policy for 5 cents on the dollar. And 3 years later, they had a massive stroke. Their life expectancy was 20, 25 years. Now it's 10, but it's only 4 years later, right? What do? Sell it. We make that money. We get out of that policy. We to someone else who it's a great buy for them too. Now they have a 10-year life expectancy with some impairments, and that's why they buy it. So that's why this business works. Without a tertiary market, there would be no secondary market. And we've learned that not the hard way, but through just time and circumstances.
Share the statistic that you with me about life insurance. How many percentage actually get cash out?
Sure. So here you go. This is the simplest one. 96% of term policies never go to claim. They're lapsed. 96. So you think, why is that possible? Because when you get your first job out of college, you get insurance for 3 years. It's in your package. And then you new job. You let that policy lapse, you get another policy. You go 6 more years there, you get another job, you let that policy lapse, and you keep going until you finally settle into your career. Okay, that's what happens to life insurance. Certainly term. Universal life, whole life, which is called permanent life insurance, that's about 86%. So cumulatively, adding it all up, about 9 out of every 10 policies never goes to claim. So when you think about a marketplace that somewhere between 15 and 17 trillion dollars of life is in force at any given time in the United States of America, and 90% of that is never going to go to claim. That's a pretty good business model, right?
What are the main reasons why they don't claim it?
People just forget. They don't need it anymore. They forgot they owned it. Many people just forget they own it. Their insurance company agent, if you will, disappears. They move. The bill doesn't ever reach them. They just let it lapse. These are younger people, right? These are the people that just really, why do you even have this? So when you have a job, you have group life insurance. And when you leave your job, you can policy with you, right? But when you're young, why are you going to do that? It's going to be 12 times expensive. You're about to get new insurance over here. You wouldn't do it. So when you're older, we try and educate people in the sense, if you worked for Dell Computer for 40 years and you're leaving, we're telling you, make sure you find out how you can portable that life insurance into your hands, that you can take it with you and it's now yours. How to do that? Because you now, even though it might be more expensive than it used to be, it's going to be less expensive than you trying to go out and get life insurance yourself now. That's going to be very expensive. The older you are, the more expensive that it is. I'm going to be 62 in a couple months. I had to convert my term life insurance for 20 years, and the premiums went up 7 times. Same policy, 7 times. So I'm very well aware of how much things cost. And that's life insurance. Is the goal is to it's there if you need it. It's a great thing to have. I recommend all people, if they have life insurance, they want to protect themselves, to get it. But when you get older, a lot of the reasons that people buy life insurance when they're younger, I've got kids, I've got a mortgage, I've got a job, all these different things. Now, when you're 65, 70, your kids are grown up, your mortgage is paid off. So all these things that you've got for protection, you don't need that anymore. So people don't need it. So we recommend maybe you can lower the face amount, make it more affordable. You can sell half of the policy, keep half of the policy, use the proceeds from the sale to pay the premiums. So there's a million ways to work with life insurance. You just have the options. And we tell people, find out what it's worth. If you surrender it, find out what it's worth in a settlement, and then you can compare them, setting them side by side, what's best for you.
What's the last message you recommend? Entrepreneurs that want to grow the business.
Well, I mean, you want to stay ahead of all of the new technologies that are available. AI is here, whether you like it or not. I use it all the time. I learn about it all the time. I have no idea what half the time I'm learning about until I listen to it over and over and over. But I implement it in my practice, and it makes things far easier to prepare for. I use my old presentations and I say, please update this with current information. I literally just tell it that, it just does it. And to always be flexible, right? To never be rigid. Don't be afraid of change. Change what you need to do at the time you need to do it. Certain things don't work. Our business is a perfect example of 1,000 things that don't work. But sometimes they come and surprise you, and they do work. So embrace a positive attitude. I mean, there's doesn't cost you anything. Everybody can be negative, but you might as well be positive.
How about if someone is in love with this conversation, I want to find out how this process works?
Sure. My website is www.lisettlements.com. My email is rob@lisettlements.com. And my phone number is area code 954-599-4433.
That note so much help for being on the podcast and for all of you following the podcast. I see you in our next episode of On Stuff. How Rob entrepreneurs break that wall and achieve the first million and keep helping people. I think it's a big help what you're doing for people. And you have a great business. I applaud you for that. I think it's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.